Hi everyone, Guy Gelso from Zebra here. You know, I've always loved guitar players. So much passion and expression in the instrument, and you hand two guitarists the same guitar rig and they're never going to sound the same. Now, Jeff Beck has always been my personal favorite, and he just had something special. Now, a lot of times with these great guitarists and their solo albums, the focus is on themselves, understandably, and the drums play a basic timekeeper role. But not in Jeff Beck's music. He hired the greatest he could find, he gave them freedom, and he wanted them to really play. So initially, the idea behind this video was to showcase all of these amazing drummers in one video and challenge myself to play some of these drum parts I've loved for years, not note for note, but with some kind of authenticity, and show you guys up close what these parts look and sound like. Well, after doing research, I realized my plan was just a tad bit ambitious. Jeff Beck worked with so many drummers, I stopped counting after a while. So eventually I get it down to 9 drummers over 11 solo albums, and I picked 1 or 2 songs from each to learn. Not an easy task. Now, there are so many different styles, from hard rocking blues to jazz rock fusion to electronic techno music, and then an album with a 64-piece orchestra. I'll say this about his career: he never stood still, always moving forward, always getting better, and always relying on great drummers to make his music come alive. So I hope you enjoy this look at the drummers of Jeff Beck over the years, and here we go. That was Jeff Beck with his first successful band, the Yardbirds. Jeff was born June 24th, 1944, in the county of Surrey in southeast England. That's the same area as Eric Clapton and his good friend Jimmy Page came from. In 1966 and 67, while still in the Yardbirds, he recorded several solo singles for producer Mickey Most. Hi-Ho Silver Lining with drummer Clem Catini, Tallyman and Rock My Plimsoll with drummer Ainsley Dunbar, and Beck's Bolero with Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, and a young Keith Moon of The Who. Now, this band could have become the first Led Zeppelin.
When Jim joined, I lost focus of where the Yardbirds should have been going, or could have been going. And it was the fact that we were overqualified in the guitar department and underqualified in the writing department. I freaked out, went mad, had a breakdown, and I think I walked out and left the band.
So Jeff Beck forms his first band with a local singer you may know named Rod Stewart. Also Ronnie Wood of the Faces and Rolling Stones fame, and after several auditions, settling on Ainsley Dunbar for drums. Now, this new band played several UK shows around the area, but Ainsley was not happy with the style of music, wanting to play more blues, so he left and was replaced by a hot local drummer named Mickey Waller. Now, this new band goes into the studio in 1968 to record a full album simply titled Jeff Beck Truth. And they included the singles Beck's Bolero and Rock My Plimsoll. The opening song was a Yardbird tune called Shape of Things. I was hooked on Mickey Waller's playing from the get-go, and it's too bad he is not remembered by more people. Really, really great drummer. For the next album, Jeff Beck wanted a heavier drummer, a heavier sound in general, so Mickey Waller was let go and they brought in another talented drummer, Tony Newman. The band name now changed to the Jeff Beck Group, and the new album titled Beckola was released in 1969. Now, Tony's playing was powerful, with more of a straight-ahead style, and the opening song is an old Elvis Presley remake, All Shook Up. And I have to give credit to the last track on Beckola called Rice Pudding. It's been one of my favorites for years, and that beginning has this killer intro. Now, Rod Stewart and Ron Wood both left to form the Faces. Jeff Beck revamps his sound to a more jazzy soul rhythm and blues style with all new players and including the mighty Cozy Powell on drums. Now, this was considered the Jeff Beck Group version 2. Rough and Ready was released in 1971, and Cozy on drums always elevates the music, and the song New Train is a great example of his playing. Now, the lineup stayed the same through the next album, and Jeff included a popular song that's been with him throughout the decades called Going Down. Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow, Jeff's first all-instrumental album. He was in solo mode now, and future albums were simply titled Jeff Beck. He brought back Max Middleton on keyboards from the last band and a young 18-year-old drummer named Richard Bailey. He also hired world-class producer of all the Beatles records, George Martin. The song You Know What I Mean has such a cool displaced beat, I had to give it a try. Also on Blow by Blow was Freeway Jam. Every drummer loves this song. There's a few ways to play this shuffle. Jeff always played it at a much more aggressive tempo live, but I really like Bailey's laid-back approach here. Now, Beck set a new standard for instrumental rock with Blow by Blow and now Wired. He still had Max Middleton on keys, and he started his collaboration with Jan Hammer on synthesizer and drums. And he had seen a young drummer named NARADA Michael Walden with the Mahavishnu Orchestra, and he just loved his playing. Now, these next couple of songs, they really kicked my butt. First up is Lead Boots. Now, NARADA Walden makes Lead Boots a beast to play, and it's hard to catch the groove, but if you listen to the rhythm line and play against that, the parts are going to come into focus. And now for butt kicker number 2. Simon Phillips is one of my favorite drummers and always brings his signature style and sound. There and Back, like the last 2 albums, was instrumental rock, but a little more of a hard edge to it now. Now, Simon's well known for Space Boogie. The song was recorded at 260 beats per minute, and I just looked at it and said, no way, Jose. I slowed it down to 234, and it's still a monster to play. Those grace notes on the snare, they're killer. Jeff Beck takes a 9-year break from solo work, and in 1989 comes back with one of my favorite Jeff Beck albums, Guitar Shop. All new band again, Terry Bozzio on drums and Tony Himes on keyboards and everything else. Now, Terry Bozzio's drum sound and his approach to playing are totally different than Simon Phillips, but no less amazing. Guitar Shop seems to be more straight ahead until you dig into the drum parts. It's the little things that Terry does where you discover what a genius he is. Now for something completely different. Jeff Beck takes another 10 years to do a new solo album and comes back with Who Else? It's based around electronic and techno music with his signature guitar sound on top. Again, a new band. Jennifer Batten, who had played with Michael Jackson on second guitar, which is a first for Jeff Beck, and Welsh drummer named Steve Alexander. I saw this tour and Alexander just blew me away. This drummer's not well known in the USA, but man, he's well worth looking into. Now the first song is called What Mama Said. Steve used a hybrid acoustic electric set live, but I'm doing my acoustic version of what I think Steve is doing.
Our next guest is one of the most influential and talented guitarists in rock and roll music. His brand new CD right here is called Who Else? Please welcome Jeff Beck.
What Mama said.
Now right in the middle of this electronic madness is this great blues song called Brush with the Blues. It's 7 minutes long with a lot of dynamics going on, but I edited it into a 1-minute piece to show you the different passages. Next up, a continuation of the techno music, You Had It Coming, 2001. Same basic band with Alexander on drums. Also, there's this beautiful ballad with Alexander playing a double-time groove over it called Nadia. Jeff Beck used some phenomenal female musicians, and I thought it was important to showcase one in this video. On the Emotion and Commotion album with a 64-piece orchestra, and I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly, Italian drummer ALESSIA MATTALIA played a track called Hammerhead, and it went on to win the 2011 Grammy for Best Rock Instrumental Performance. Well, there you have it. Throughout Jeff Beck's career, he was always evolving as a musician. He'd start a band, define a style, record an album or two, then disband the whole group and look for something new. Now, this video was tough to do, but I think the best teacher has always been just digging in and breaking down someone's drum parts. You're analyzing their style, their sticking, their drum sounds. You learn why they do what they do, and that's progress. So go after it, gang. Practice hard, keep it simple, and thank you very much for watching.
Simon Phillips.